Welcome to the third season of the Global Architect Alliance podcast with your founder, Jason Boyle. This season, we are going to be asking architects in countries around the globe, what is it really like to practice architecture in these countries? Over the season, we will uncover the differences and similarities to practicing the profession of architecture between different continents, countries, and regions. Our first location is Tanzania in East Africa. Please share, subscribe, and comment to support the channel. Now a word from our sponsors.
Sounds for Sleeping is a new, dedicated YouTube and Instagram channel with relaxing ASMR videos to help you relax, study, or sleep. Please see links in this podcast for free sounds ranging from 1 hour to 10 hours of sounds.
Welcome to the third season of the Global Architect Alliance, and our very first guest is Russell Henderson. And hi, Russell. It's actually the first time we've actually seen each other virtually. I just wanted if you could maybe just do a short introduction in case anyone doesn't know who you are. And then I was going to ask how long you've actually been in the current location that you're currently in.
My name is Russell Henderson. I'm also known as Architect Russell on social media. I'm a British architect from the UK. I think I'm registered about, I think it's around 15 years ago. And I left the UK just after I registered, and I've worked in Thailand, I've worked in Australia, now I work and live in Tanzania. I've been here for about 8 or 9 years.
Okay, and you said you were a British architect, and so I'm interested. How do you qualify? Did you do the sort of standard way in the UK? But also, do you know how people qualify to become an architect in Tanzania? If that's a thing.
Most countries I've found, including Tanzania, it's more or less the same like 5 years full-time study, at least 2 years work experience, supervised work experience. So that's what I did, and I found most countries it's a similar thing. Really, I think it's a similar thing in Tanzania.
Yeah. Okay. And I was also going to ask is, I think it's true to say that there's certain software that people use in different countries to design buildings, and so I'm really interested in what software do you use for the various different stages of your design, and that I think that would be really interesting for our listeners.
Yeah, one of the reasons I was employed, I got here because they wanted to implement BIM into the company, because it was the biggest construction company I worked for, and they wanted to outstand from everybody else in the area. They're already the biggest in the area, but they just wanted to coordinate everything properly, so they needed an architect, and this was like 10 years ago. They needed an architect with Revit experience, so I had that. That's one of the reasons why I got a job. So one of the things I did when I came here was implement BIM, so I pushed that out straight away. So I got that into the office and implemented that. Those guys, there's a lot of guys coming to use it, but they didn't really understand drawing. A lot of people, they go to university, and these are like not architects. A lot of you get drafters and stuff. They had like 3D modelers. There was a couple of 3D modelers there when I started, but they didn't really understand drawings, line weights and stuff like that. They just could model stuff in 3D. They didn't really understand the documentation process as well. So that's kind of brought that to the office, and I started. So it's mostly that and hand drawing. It was a bit of SketchUp at the beginning. I'm starting to use a bit of Rhino recently, because it's pretty. You have to do things quite practical here. You can't do these fancy. But we're getting better because it's the buildability here is difficult. So you can't get too crazy. You have to think. Like I'm doing the tower at the moment, and I'm struggling to try and think up something because you can't think of something too expensive, and you got to think it too practical.
Yeah.
It's got to be practical, and it's got to be buildable as well. You got to think. You got to know. Like, I work for the biggest construction company here, and they're pretty good, but it's still difficult. The labor and the materials and the cost is a big issue. Time as well. It's really quick here. Like, a 5-story building would be like a couple of years to finish that from start to finish.
Wow.
So you got to think about all those things. You can't go too crazy, if you know what I mean. So you got to know how they build here, really.
Yeah. Do you still sketch and then go from sketching into, I don't know, into SketchUp and then go into Revit? You know, how's your sort of process work?
The thing is, it happens so quick. You're they wanted, like, it's literally they want something next week, so you're in the on the software straight away. You don't really have much time to do much sketching. You do. You start off with sketching. It always starts off with sketching, but you're under pressure to get it onto the computer quickly so you can start presenting it properly. I've been doing a lot. We're doing a lot of tracing paper. We still do a lot of tracing paper. The architects. It's me and another lady now, and we do a lot of tracing paper now, which is quite good. But like no one else does that.
No.
That does speed things up a bit at the beginning. You kind of do like we're doing nowadays. We do a plan, we sketch a plan or something, and then we show the director just to make sure. He's not the director of design. He's like the director for the construction company. So you want to like show him it so you're on the right lines, and then once he goes, oh yeah, and then you start. Then once you think happy with the plan, then you kind of put it into the computer, and then we usually, because it's more like a function over form here. You got to make it work first, really. That's how we usually work. So it's mostly the plans first. Efficiency is very high as well, because its cost is really important. So like I'm doing like the tower I'm doing at the moment, it has like 190 car park spaces. So it's like 2-story basement parking plus 4 stories of parking, and then there's like 15 stories of office above that. And the parking, I got 190 parking exactly, but he was saying it's because he was doing all the calculations like construction. He was saying that's really inefficient. The amount of parking per floor you got compared to the size of the site is quite low, especially compared to previous projects I've done. So he was saying you need to get more parking on per floor, otherwise it's not enough. It's not cost effective. You're wasting money there. Like if you've not got enough parking on one floor, it's not efficient. So I have to re-look at that, like the ramp and everything. Yeah. And then the floor plates of stuff like this office. We got to get it like I think it's 80. I usually get 80% efficiency for a typical floor, which is so the core of like an office, and then there's rentable space. So the core, the lifts, the toilets, all that is just 20%, and the rest of it is rentable is 80%. So try and aim for that at least. So if you do a sloped building that's a bit crazy, the inefficiency would just like go usually, because the floor plate would get smaller on each floor and then bigger. So the lower the floors with the less area wouldn't be efficient. You're wasting money there.
No, you're not going to get Frank Gehry coming and building in Tanzania then.
No, exactly. I mean, there's exceptions. Yes, some clients they don't really care as much. The richer ones, I guess. Yeah, but what we do, I think our company is more like we offer to design and build it. We don't just design it and then like we do the whole package. So I suppose we're responsible. Like we're going to build this, so we're thinking about practicality at the very early stages.
Yeah, and I think that's really key, because you're getting that early constructability input and costing, which is actually how, believe it or not, how I work. So we have our contractor right from day one embedded into the team. So that's really fantastic, and I guess it's how you're set up, though. You're working for the contractor as you know, as an architect, and you're in house, and you're all part of one team. But no, that's absolutely fantastic.
We have all the engineers as well, so I'm putting all the, and plus I learnt it all now. I'm making the MEP rooms and everything already, like in the initial concept and stuff. So I'm putting most of that place. Transformers and generators, I put all that on at the early stages as well.
No, that's fantastic. You know, that you understand how all of that works, and it must make their life easier as well. You know, you haven't got to suddenly find, you know, you need a plant room that's twice the size as originally that you've designed it, and you know, you understand service routing, and you know, absolutely fantastic. And I was just going to go on. So you, what sort of projects does your company, you know, focus on? You know, it sounds like you've got a range of different.
Yeah, lots. Doing quite a few hotels in Zanzibar. I've done villas. At the moment, I'm working on that's quite broad actually. I got a university project on site. I got a hotel project on site. That office tower I was talking about, and there's like an apartment complex, high VIP, obviously high high class diplomatic apartments, and that's like going to be really a lot of planting and greenery involved, green roof and swimming pool on the roof and stuff, like 4-bedroom apartments, like top-notch apartments. There's that, and we've done like large banks. One of the first projects I worked on was a massive shopping. You ever done shopping malls? A massive shopping mall, and it had like one of the first projects I worked on was like mixed use. To have a shopping mall, hotel, apartments, cinemas, office towers, all one project. So mostly those really. So I think mostly apartments and hotels and office towers. I did a dried fruit factory and farm as well. So yeah, lots of stuff. But I've been here quite a while.
Yeah, I mean, you sound like you've got a range of different projects there, and you know, I don't know how big your design team is or how small it is.
No, very small. The architects, there's less than 5. Throughout the 9 years I've been here, 8 years I've been here, a couple have come and go, but it's always been less than 5 in the architecture department. And there was only 2. There's only been 2 qualified architects, like me or someone else.
Yeah.
And a couple of, so most of the time it's been me and another architect plus 2 assistants. But now these assistants, one of them is like he's running projects now, and he's pretty young. He started the same time as me, so
that's fantastic. Okay, but that's you said you focus on, you know, a wide sort of range of projects, but I'm interested, you know, how does your company sort of win their work? And I think what I mean by this is, do you play a sort of part in that, and how do you play the part in winning sort of work?
That's quite good question, because last night it was weird because I don't do private work because I got like people don't understand. I said this before to people. When you're working abroad, you got a work permit with your company, so you can't really do other work. It's against the law, really. Some guy, that's just an example. I haven't had this for a while, but this was a weird one. Last night about 8 o'clock, got a random phone call. Some guy like, "Hi, my name is blah blah blah. I've got a project. I want to meet you tomorrow at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Do you live in this area?" I was like, "Who are you?" I was like, "Who are you?" Like, because I'm so and so. I go, "Where did you get my number?" Because I needed plans quick. I need to build a tower, like blah blah blah. And I was like, "Hold on, I don't randomly meet clients. You got to go like the I'm not a director. I'm an architect, so I don't really get clients. I don't really want to do that either. I want to design buildings. I don't really. I try to stay away from that, to be honest. But if I get a message or someone, I'll forward it to the office. But I try and stay away from that a bit, because I don't want to get involved in like that stuff.
But it gives you more time, doesn't it, to focus on delivering more projects? So everyone's got their own strengths, and and some people, you're right, just don't want to do that. But that's I've never heard of that before. Someone just calling you up and wanting you to do a tower. It's
like that was a bit weird. But I think so. There's the different projects. There's ones that. Generally, it's word of mouth. I think you get projects. I think because they've got a good reputation for excellence and everything. Our company, some projects, a lot of projects I work on. In fact, probably most of them, we actually do ourselves. We buy the land ourselves and then build it, and then at the end of it. They rent the building out to people like big Western companies or something. We try and pitch to them. Or there's other projects like some guy wants a hotel. They come to a company. I think it's design and build package. Or there's some projects. They've had like the villas I worked on in Zanzibar. They were designed and they started building them, and then halfway through they didn't like it and they employed us to finish it and change it. That was quite challenging because the structure was already built on like I think building 40 villas, like 10 of them. The structure was already built, but they wanted to turn them around and things like that. It's like it's quite difficult. So there's that, and I think a lot of clients are just repeated clients as well, good reputation, so they come back.
No, that's really interesting. I think it's pretty unique as well. And the natural follow-on question to that one is, what sort of contracts do you use in Tanzania and for your work? I guess if you're a developer, that's a different thing. But if you're a sort of design and build contractor with a client, I'd just be interested how it works contractually.
I don't really get involved in that, but I know it's some kind of engineering contract.
Like an NC3, probably similar,
Yeah, something like that. I don't really get involved in that, to be honest. It's probably engineering or I can't remember, something engineering contract.
So you don't have to give architects instructions in the traditional way if it's an
we have a project manager, and let's just leave that crap to him.
Me too. Yeah.
Like I think I remember saying that when I had the job interview. They asked me what I want. Is there anything you need? Like before the interview ended, they asked me, like, for your job, is there anything you need? And I said, just access to software and project manager. I remember saying.
Good answer.
So yeah, they handle. So they go to site. So I try not to. I try to let him speak to the client as well,
Yeah.
because it gets really confusing when somebody from the client side starts talking to other people, and it gets really confusing. Like like Chinese whisper going round.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't want to go to the client and he might say something, or the client comes to me and says something, and then the project manager might say something else to me. It gets confusing.
Yeah.
I'm working with clients actually a lot more recently, the last 6 months, which has been good. Client meetings and presentations, but we try and do it in a team.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you're such a small team as well. You can't put your project manager's hat on one day and then your contractual hat on the next day, and then keep juggling all these different designs. So I fully understand that. Okay, so the next one's very, very topical and has been for probably a long time. But it's what are the current environmental challenges that you currently faced within the location that you're based in Tanzania?
My stuff's imported. Nearly everything apart from concrete, really. We have timber, but we seem to be using less of it. We used a lot of it when I started, but now I didn't know what the story is with the timber here, because I never found out if it's coming from a sustainable source. That was always like a mystery to me here, like where is it all coming from and stuff. Maybe people catching on, that's why we're using it less. So like fire doors, imported, glass is imported. So yeah, that's all pretty, but I've done pretty well. Like 2 of my buildings have got great LEED gold.
Oh wow, yeah.
Good. Aiming for platinum on the next one. But that was all. But we had a environment, sustainability consultant on board helping us for that. But it was mostly down to shading, keeping the building cool, like the glass specs and stuff like that, and the type of air conditioning and water, saving water, making electricity. A lot of green spaces at that, green roofs. So you can. It doesn't have to be completely, made of mud and everything. It can be possible. I know some people say it's greenwashing, but you can still make a building green compared, because the way they rate it is it's comparing it to a typical building. So if it's better than that, then it's considered quite green, really.
And is it like a popular thing in for clients in Tanzania? It is in the UK, it is in the US, but is it really like a status thing almost? For a client to have a lead.
Yeah, that's why we did it, because that was the first LEED rated building in Tanzania, and then the one in Zambia I did was I think it wasn't the first LEED, I think it was the second, but it's the first one to get LEED gold. But it really helped for the project. They wanted to attract international clients, and it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fantastic to hear. Yeah, it's great. So the next one, probably going on from that one as well, as well as sustainability and designing sustainable buildings, it's the cultural issues I'm interested in as well, and how maybe it impacts the design, or maybe how it impacts the way that you work. I understand you do for example, you do 6 days, you don't do a 5-day week. So I'm just interested in the cultural side, really.
Yeah. So I work 6 days a week, but I have I get my stuff is provided for me. My apartment, my car. I have a housekeeper. So I don't do washing up. I don't do my laundry. I don't clean the toilet. I don't make my bed. It's all done for me. I don't clean my car. I can pay somebody to do that.
Yeah.
So that kind of makes up for the extra day I'm working. So I'm working on Saturdays. So like in the UK, you spend all Sunday cleaning anyway, and you get home clean as well. I mean, I could even ask the housekeeper to cook for me if I wanted to, but I don't even bother. I do that myself. So that's the good thing about it, and it's sunshine all the time. I don't really hang around with many Brits that much. I don't really get into the expat scene that much. I have been a bit recently, but there's a lot. My company's mostly Indian people work there as well.
Okay.
So there's hardly any Tanzanians in our company, in our office. Sorry, the construction workers and everything. There are a lot Tanzanian. There's a couple actually in our office, Tanzanian, and the head office. Yeah, there are a few, but most of the people I work with are Indian. Yeah, so I've wrapped up more in the Indian culture than African.
I understand.
Well,
Wow.
both really. Yeah, but when I go out at night, it's more African, but like work is Indian. Because it's very Dar es Salaam is very Arab Indian influence as well.
Yeah. And what's your sort of typical day? You know, what time do you start and finish? You know.
8 o'clock in the morning I start and I finish at 5. 1 hour on lunch break, Monday to Saturday. Saturday I can go out. No one will say anything if you leave. If or if you have to go somewhere, it's fine. But it's really nice environment because it feels like a family. It's a family company, and it's they're my family now. It feels like
That's great.
we have our arguments. But yeah, it feels like a family.
You've got to be careful not to take what's happening in the office out with you outside in your friendships. I would gather.
Yeah, I learned that in the UK. So,
which is why I don't socialize with anyone from work. Yeah. Okay. So you are. I think everyone knows you're a member of a professional body. And you're a member of the RIBA, and it's. I'd just be interested from someone who obviously the RIBA exists in England and it's headquartered in London, but how do the RIBA sort of help you either day to day or annually? You know, what you're a member of the profession. But it's I'm just interested why you're a member of the RIBA when you're based in Tanzania.
The only thing that's really helped me with this, I've said this before, is the I don't know. People say, oh, you get as much as you put in. Yeah, I suppose I don't put in that much. But it's just the name really, Chartered and RIBA, that's helped me internationally. Nothing's really helped me apart from that, really. I mean, it looks good on your CV, gets you in the door, people respect you a bit more.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. And it worked when I was in Australia and Thailand as well. When I worked there, definitely helped me get the job, definitely. And this job as well. I don't think I probably wouldn't have got the job if I wasn't.
Oh well, that's great. And of course you it makes you do your CPD as well.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Yes, it's recorded online. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So that I'm interested in that because I think as I'm going through season 3, there are going to be a number of RIBA architects I'm talking to that also work in different countries. So I'll be asking them a similar question.
I don't think the same. Like every time I see, I think they mix Africa with Middle East all the time. I don't know why they do that. I've seen stuff. It's always in Dubai and always talking about the Middle East.
Yeah.
I've hardly seen anything in Africa. I suppose there is. I mean, I've lived here 8 years. I haven't heard anything RIBA Africa at all. I don't know.
Yeah, there's one in Ghana. I think Ghana is a small, very small chapter in Ghana. But yeah, it's you're right. It tends to be Middle Eastern. That they've got quite a big, a big sort of number of people who are part of that. But it's very, very small in Africa, and I don't know why. But it's that's how it is. Okay, and I wanted to just as well ask a question, which again, as you probably know me, is about the long working hours culture. I know you work 6 days a week, but as you've explained, you probably don't spend one of them days cooking and cleaning and doing all of them things because you've got some relief. But where do you stand on that sort of long working hour culture that's very topical?
I kind of used to it now. No, there's a lot of, you do occasionally. I think, geez, like I only got one day off. It's like I can't do anything. I can't just go for a week. I can't go to Zanzibar for I can't spend the night anywhere. It's like the only chance to have fun is like Saturday night, have a late night, and then Sunday you're off, and that's it. I can't go to Zanzibar for the weekend. I'll have to, but I get 30 days holiday a year, which I've saved up. I've got God, I think I racked up 49 days or 59 days or something I have to take. And there's quite a lot of holidays here. But they always I think there's more than the UK here, the national holidays. But they always lie on, because I work Saturday, they always lie on some stupid day like Tuesday or Thursday. Every single one of them, like it's never a Monday or never a Friday or Saturday. They always lie on. Like last week there was one, it was Thursday, so you have a day off and then go back to work Friday and Saturday, and then it's always like that. So that's a pain. But I think a lot of the guys at work, I don't remember in the UK it's kind of frowned upon when you work, you have a holiday for more than a couple of weeks. But the guys at work, I never do it, but a lot of the guys at work, they save their holidays up and they take a whole month off. Or some people take 2 months off in one go. A lot of people do that. You can do that if you want. They don't. That's pretty common here. I couldn't do that because when you get back, you're like depressed. You have to work another year before you can get any days off.
No, but you do. It's true. It is like that over here in the UK anyway. That if you, I know myself, if I take more than 2 weeks off, I've got to get special permission to take 3 weeks off, and I don't see why, as long as you've made plans and you've got people to cover for you, I don't see what the problem is. But yeah, we don't tend to take them sort of 3 weeks or month vacations off. Yeah, sad. And I think
but even though I think I get a bit more, you probably get on to money soon, eh? But I probably get a bit more money than I did. I get more money than I did on my previous jobs. So that's kind of why I work a bit more. I'd rather work an extra day and get more money than that's kind of. I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, so it suits you. You don't seem too stressed with work because you also do many other things outside of your day job.
And I also I live now I live close to work as well. It doesn't take me an hour to commute. Now it takes me 1 minute to commute. I work in the same building. I just go down the lift now. That's for the last 6 months. For the last 6 years before that, it was only round the corner, so it's just literally 5 minutes in the car, or 10 minute walk, 5 minute, 10 15 minute walk, 10 minute walk. So I have, and there's no. So you start work at 8, but you wake up at 7. Yeah. So,
Wow. You just literally got a minute before you can get into the office.
And I'm usually late as well.
How is that?
I know, exactly.
Okay, it's next question is, what are the biggest challenges that you face working in, I guess, in architecture, in your company, just sort of day-to-day challenges that you'd have. I guess I'm looking for the biggest ones.
Yeah, so build, like I spoke briefly before, a lot of buildability and cost and practicality as well when you're designing. And I spend a lot of, at the moment, last few years, I've struggled a lot with picking finishes, picking tiles and things, and because they're like trying to get the picking the right, because I don't choose the manufacturer, like the kind of
Right.
I'm not gonna go around for 3 or 4 different manufacturers and find what's the cheapest and like bargain with them. That's not my job. I don't want to do that. So we have a guy who does that, and that's a headache. It's really frustrating me the last few years a lot, because I got to choose all these floor tiles for this hotel, and okay, what company can I choose? Otherwise, like if I pick a company, they'll just give me like one company I can. Like it used to be that like I was picking ACP for a tower, and here pick one of these. We'll use this company. So like I spend like 3 hours trying to choose the right colors, like checking them and everything. Finally pick these. Then might get some samples. Wait a week, got samples. Yeah, choose those 2. And then like a few weeks later, they come in again. Oh, choose this manufacturer instead. Choose this supplier. They do the whole thing because they're trying to get cost and all this stuff, quality and everything. And that's a headache. And that goes on with tiles as well. It's and trying to get them approved as well, because I have to get them approved not only by the client, if there's a client, or my company, the contractor directors want to be happy with it. So the directors for our company, they're quite heavily involved in the design process as well, and they go to site and everything. And I mean, they're bigger. They've got more experience than me. They've been doing it. Like the main owner of the company, he's been doing it a lot more experience than me, constructing buildings. So they like to have their input as well.
Wow, so it's a kind of battle almost to get something through. I guess you've got to make sure you can justify why you're selecting the particular color of tile or the feel of texture of tile. And I didn't even think that would be a thing. I thought once the client's happy with it and the costing's right, but you've got even people within your own company that have an input, which is a challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, very much. And interiors as well. I'm doing a lot of the projects. I'm not only doing the architecture, I'm doing interiors as well. Usually sometimes it's a big fancy hotel, get an interior designer, but like this particular two of the projects, most of the projects I work on, actually you go, we'll do it ourselves. So I do. I don't mind, but it's always a lot more difficult than I think. It's probably because I'm not a interior designer, but that's quite challenging, and doing those material boards is difficult, and getting them approved and everything, and doing the internal views and make sure all the colors match and everything. That's quite difficult to find. At the beginning, it was working with we do it all in BIM. So we have, at the beginning, there's a challenge trying to get the MEP, mechanical, electrical, plumbing engineers, and the structural guys in our company to push them towards BIM. But that took a few years, especially the structures guys. I trained the structure guys to use BIM a bit, and they're using it now. We're all using it now, which is really good. So we're literally like modeling all the ducts and lights and everything all in BIM, which is really good. Sometimes structures, if there's a project's a bit simple, structures will just do a CAD drawing, but it's becoming less and less now. They're learning more now to do it in BIM. So
yeah, and you can get your material takeoffs, can't you, off everything as well.
yeah, we do that. So the volume of concrete is a good one.
Yeah. No, fantastic. And I guess this is similar. It's similar in a way, but what is your biggest frustration in I'd say, just let's keep it very broad, in just essentially biggest frustration in practicing architecture?
But in Tanzania or generally?
You can do both if it's the same thing, or do two different things.
I think, like I said, materials really for me. I think materials.
And everything's imported. A lot of it's imported. Is that the main reason, or?
Just it seems to take longer than designing the building nowadays. Just try and get everyone agreeing on it. Like, no one. Like there's like one client, like you'd say one thing, it's like on purpose he'll choose something else. That I think that's frustrating. Is getting the materials approved, especially interiors. And then I used to have one of the frustrating things. I got it now. I think it's when someone tells somebody to do something on site or on your project without consulting the architect. It's like they don't know you exist or something, and the hierarchy is like gone. Like something happens on site, or something happened, you turn up and like, why did that? You got to be careful not to lose your temper. You go on site and why is that there? Like, that shouldn't be like that. And then you start losing your temper, or you go but then when they explain it to you, it's usually okay. You know the reason behind it. But sometimes it isn't. I must admit, I got used to it now, but that's quite frustrating. So basically, stuff happening on your project that you're not knowing about, I think.
So I guess if you design so many different buildings as well, you can't go to site that often, or how typically do you?
No, hardly at all. The project manager usually goes. There was one project, the big one, mixed use one. I was going a hell of a lot. That was a huge project, but that was because it was close by as well.
Right.
So I had like a bit more control on it. But like Zambia and stuff, I was in another country, so I couldn't. So yeah, that's sort of, like, sites quite important. Even you get like directors of the company. It's not as bad anymore, but when I first arrived, it was like, it's like, for instance, the client's going on site or something, and he's telling the construction guy to do something, and it just happens like that without. I'd like to know about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that kind of stuff. I think that's probably the most frustrating thing. But it's getting better now here, and now it's not so bad.
Okay. No, they're very, very good things, and I can definitely attain to them being frustrating as well. They would frustrate me, and they do. Okay.
It's probably down to the contract thing and appointment. I'm not like an appointed architect. I'm not like a separate entity. I don't work for. I suppose it's because I'm like mixed in the construction team, aren't I? Like
external
consultants.
Yeah, that they would just go, oh well, go and speak to Russell and his practice, and it'd be interesting to know. We have a big thing in the UK, and it seems to be a big shortage. Clerk of works. So your clerk of works traditionally is your eyes and ears of they understand your drawings, and they will tell you if something isn't being built as the drawings, and that's something that's come really back into the industry I work in. To have them clerk of works there, because you can't always be on site, and it does help. It gets that quality control up. But yeah, maybe you can try and persuade your construction company to invest in a clerk of works for you that works for you.
I think the project manager does that kind of thing. But yeah, but there's no I don't see any report or anything. We're not that's the thing. We're not that administrative, if you know what I mean. Hardly any compared to UK or something. We're very just wing it kind of thing. It's because it's too fast. No one does that. We had a meeting a couple of weeks ago. Someone did some minutes. It's probably the second minutes probably the 3 or 4 minutes since I've seen been distributed in 8 years. No one does minutes. Stuff like that, and it's not really because we're quick. We have WhatsApp groups. People are in our office. If you got a problem, you just go to their desk. It gets frustrating sometimes because I'm trying to do something and just someone comes to your desk and you just ruins your hour because you're working on one project and then someone comes over and goes, "Oh, have you got that project open?" I go, "No." I go, "Can I ask you something?" And I have to open it and then just talk about it in 20 minutes and then solve that problem. And then right, I've solved that. And then he goes and then "Oh, now what the hell was I doing?" We go back to so that happens all the time, every day nearly. But you get stuff done quick though. You don't bother with meetings hardly. It's hardly any meetings. No one bothers with that crap. You just call them or go to. We have engineers all in our office, so you just go to their desk. There's hardly any meetings. Maybe client meetings, or we might have a group meeting. Not very often.
So do you you do planning applications like you would in the UK, for instance?
Not really. We do a concept, and then. Which we just make sure it's got a site plan, basically planning drawings. So we just make sure it's got plans, sections, elevations, and a site plan. And then if they want to submit it for planning, I think they just call it. Yeah, I can't remember what they call it, planning or building permit.
Right,
building permit.
Yeah.
And you got to get an engineer's set as well. And that's pretty well designed, actually. The engineering sets, it's got beams, columns, foundations, and everything. Then you submit that, and I think the architect, you'll have to get a local architect to stamp that as well. It's not really. I don't get involved in the application. You just email it to someone in our team, and it just gets sorted out.
It's not like over here, 13 to 16 weeks for planning permission.
It's I think it's a month and a half or something like that, or 2 months. There's one I did recently. They were asking. I don't really get involved in stuff like that. They go, "Oh, we're doing building permit." They just say "Oh, we're applying for building permit. Just send me the drawings." That's it. You just email them drawings. You don't hear anything after that. And then a month later, it goes, "Oh, we're starting on site now." 2 months later, something like that. The hotel one was a typical example I'm doing recently. It's near an airport, Zanzibar airport, and they wanted to get building permits. So I sent them just a set of drawings, and then the engineers did a set. And then I think it came back after a month. They said, "Oh, we need to." The airport is telling us we need an airport drawing showing how high it is in relation with the airport and stuff. We need a drawing showing that. So I did that. And emailed it to I think the client was asking for that because I think he was submitting it.
Yes.
So, and then I did that drawing, and then literally like we probably waited a month and a half, and then it went on site, and then they were going on site. Yeah.
Wow, that's fast paced. That really is fast paced, and that's, I think, something I've learned. That's completely different than the UK. It's the speed of how you work. All right, I wanted to maybe switch for the last two questions. The first one is, how is social media used to benefit your business? I understand you have your own, channel. Does the company use social media in any shape or form?
Yeah, they have YouTube. We're on LinkedIn. Yeah, so we are on it, and we have sister companies as well into other stuff, and they have social media channels. Moderately, I think a little bit. Yeah, not as extreme as me, but like.
I mean, do most of the people you work with, see your channel, your individual channel, because you've
so, but no one really. TikTok. Yeah, but they don't really say much, to be honest. Yeah.
Maybe it's just the rest of the world that's obsessed with Russell.
No, I do get like the comments and stuff, but not like every day. But like I get clients. Do they? Yeah, like that hotel client was like, I'll come to my hotel. I want you to do video and stuff like that. It was quite cool. Yeah. Yeah.
So we're going to end on a positive note, and so I'm interested in what is the best thing about practicing architecture in Tanzania.
Stuff gets built quickly. You get to design buildings.
Oh yeah, that's a dig.
I think that's it. I'll leave it at that because they're the top two. Yeah.
No, fantastic. Well, thank you for your time, and it's greatly appreciated. And it's lovely to virtually meet you, at long last.
Yeah, you too. Been great being here.
Cheers.
Thank you for listening. Please support the Global Architect Alliance by subscribing and sharing this podcast. Please also leave a rating. For more information of what the Global Architect Alliance does, please visit globalarchitectalliance.com. We will see you next time.